A lawyer representing the Covington Catholic kids has filed a lawsuit against more than 50 individuals, including many media outlets.
I thought I had it all together, but I was led astray.
Even the special counsel says that the media doesn't get it right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
According to multiple sources, including MSNBC, Fox, and BNL News, this is a short list of the people who have been served lawsuits, or rather the entities that have been served lawsuits. The New York Times, The Washington Post, CNN, NPR, GQ Magazine, The Hill, Maggie Haberman, Savannah Guthrie, Andrea Mitchell, Joy Reid, Chuck Todd, Kathy Griffin, and many, many more. I wonder why Bill Maher's on that list.
Oh yeah, I blame that f***ing kid. What a little prick. Smirk face. Smirk face says, please. Like, that's not a dick move at any age to stick your face in this elderly man's... And this smirking kid says he was just trying to diffuse the situation by... Really? You know what? Next time you get into a fight with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, try that.
Now, that is very funny, Bill. I must insist, you are in fact a high-tier comedian. Well worth being on HBO, and definitely worth your time slot. Funny man Bill Maher. But one question I do have, of all people on this planet Earth, does Bill Maher have any room to criticize a person for having a punchable face? He is quite literally the possessor of the most punchable face on this planet. A lot of the people featured in the lawsuits had very inflammatory things to say about the Covington Catholic kids, of course running with whatever the media said. They trusted the media, and now they're going to pay for that. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything you hear on TV. In fact, maybe you should believe the opposite. But here's a short video made by Zyntrax, and I'll link his channel and this video in the description. He makes pretty good videos, and I would highly encourage you to check out his material. He did a top 10 tweets of people talking about Covington, so let's roll that footage.
Mocking, condescending, disrespecting. Hashtag Covington shame.
Since they're in DC, they should take the red hats and hashtag MAGA and get up in some faces over Congress Heights Way. The reaction won't be so dignified. They'll relocate that smug grin to the back of his neck like he's asking for. It is that day. Sorry, you will have to go and defend these kids now. I did way less dumb than these kids when I was 16 and got obliterated for it. They deserve everything they're getting and more. Because he's a kid is no reason to withhold his identity. If you want to say because his behavior doesn't warrant ruining his life, then we can have the debate. But his age alone should not protect him from consequences. I'll show you why in the next tweet. Honest question, have you ever seen a more punchable face than this kid's?
P.S. The reply from the school was pathetic and impotent. Name these kids. I want names. Shame them. If you think these wouldn't dox you in a heartbeat, think again.
This is appalling. The ignorance. The gall. The disrespect. It's shameful and sadly on brand. When something like this isn't even surprising, it's evidence to our place in the cycle of recreating our darker chapters. That Native American man showed incredible strength and dignity. This video breaks my heart. There is nothing more sad and despicable than seeing hashtag MAGA youth disrespect our native family, but also the blind ignorance of this corrupted kid. Someone taught him to hate. How real Donald Trump and his Red Hate Brigade are the new KKK. Lock the kids into school and burn them to the ground. Hashtag MAGA kids go screaming hats first into the wood chipper.
Now, I know you're going to find this surprising, but none of those accounts were suspended and none of those tweets were taken down. None of those accounts even faced a temporary ban. Now, also keep in mind that you can be banned for saying that a man is a man. That's Twitter nowadays, and I know a lot of you, because I hear it from a lot of people in the real world too. Say, well, you just stop using Twitter. Well, unfortunately, there isn't exactly a healthy alternative. I mean, what are we going to use, Gab? And this isn't so much complaining about the platform, but more pointing out the very clear hypocrisy. I know we've been banging this drum for a while now, but there are still some people who sit there and say, I don't see it. They're a private business. Well, sure. I mean, maybe a local bakery is a private business, but Twitter is Twitter. There is no other Twitter. Like I said, what are you going to use, Gab? Now let's talk about a little brave man named Ben Popkin, a senior business reporter for NBC. Learn to Code was tweeted at me by a sketchy account. Well, I think this needs a Dear Diary. Learn to Code was tweeted at me by a sketchy account. I reported it as abusive behavior as part of targeted harassment. Twitter suspended the account within 20 minutes. Journalists, if they tweet Learn to Code at you, don't stay silent. Take a moment to report it. Well, one thing I want to report is this is a journalist and he forgot a comma. So, shaking my head. And now let's talk about Vice. We have additional journalist layoffs. Journalists in massive air quotes. Vice Media to reorganize, lay off 10% of staff. And this is an exclusive with the Hollywood Reporter. The cuts, which will impact around 250 people, are part of new CEO Nancy Dubuc's strategic plan to tighten spending and achieve profitability. Achieve profitability, because apparently they're not even profitable right now. Vice Media is planning a reorganization that will include laying off about 10% of its workforce as the once high-flying startup looks to rein in an unwieldy business that grew quickly during the height of the digital boom. Around 250 jobs are expected to be cut, a company spokeswoman tells The Hollywood Reporter, as the 2,500-person Vice reduces redundancies internationally and reorients to focus on growth areas like film and television production and branded content. All departments at every level are expected to have layoffs, from IT to finance to television. She says here, having finalized the 2019 budget, our focus shifts to executing our goals and hitting our marks. We will make Vice the best manifestation of itself and cement its place long into the future. I'm going to have to press X to doubt on that one. But good luck. You'll need it. In other news, Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse tried to bring everybody together from all sides of the aisle under one idea, that maybe babies should live. Well, let's go ahead and see how that worked out for him.
In a few minutes, the United States Senate is going to have an opportunity to condemn infanticide. 100 United States senators are going to have an opportunity to unanimously say the most basic thing imaginable, and that is that it's wrong to kill a little newborn baby.
A few minutes later.
There are only two sides of the debate on the floor tonight. You're either for babies or you're defending infanticide. That is actually what the legislation is that's before us. Please don't block this legislation.
Mr. President.
Senator from Washington.
Mr. President, we have laws against infanticide in this country. This is a gross misinterpretation of the actual language of the bill.
New York and Virginia, New York already, and Virginia in debate are having a conversation about removing exactly these protections. This debate is about infanticide and infanticide only, and this is a sad day for this body.
I was trying to get all of the important bits, but that about sums it up. They blocked the bill. They weren't able to agree on this premise. Insane, right? Like, what kind of world do we live in? A world where the people who talk about tolerance and love are the ones that are encouraging literal infanticide, and then pretending that it's all about women's rights. What about children's rights? What about infant rights? Does that even exist? Is that even recognized in their little book of laws? Well, as you saw, I think it was in my last video, the media was in uproar, not over this new policy of infanticide and endorsing infanticide. A politician, a sitting politician, endorsing infanticide. They didn't care about that. They didn't even report on it. They cared about a photo from the same man from 30 years ago with an inappropriate outfit. That's where their priorities are. They're around thought policing, but when it comes to policing thoughts that maybe ought to be policed a little bit, infanticide. I don't want to say that word too much, but it's important not to downplay what these people are talking about. However, it's really important to keep in mind that if we make it illegal to dress in certain outfits that some people find offensive, that this will push all of these people who would have wanted to dress in provocative outfits to get their outfits by illegal means, in back alleys. But this is really a decision that a man or woman and their costume designer should have in private without the government intervening. Well, that'll be it for this video. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're interested, there are more shirts in the gift shop. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, of course, or rather support me, I'm a one-man show, a one-man army, a one-man walking apocalypse, right? Isn't that what I've heard some people describe themselves online as? Anyway, that'll be it for now. Here it is, your moment of clarity.
Kavanaugh known at Yale as a virgin?
I have no idea.
I just want to know, because that's something he points out about himself that I know, having gone to the same school, and it's not so big a school. It's got a big name, but it's not that big a community. It's pretty small. It's the kind of thing that would have been known.